About this, Shane, last game of the week in the SEC, number 19 Kentucky at number 3 Tennessee. The Vols, Shane, favored by 12 points at home. The over-under 62 total points, and the game kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 Central on ESPN. Last season, Tennessee won 45-42 in Lexington, and Tennessee leads the all-time series 82-26 with 9 ties. And Kentucky, Shane, has only won once inside Neyland Stadium since 1986. Does it happen again? And what other stat, Shane? How about this? Tennessee has scored 30 or more, 10 straight games. That's the longest streak in Tennessee history. But Kentucky, Shane, they have allowed 24 or fewer in 11 straight games, longest active streak in the country. So we got strength on strength. Tennessee offense, Kentucky defense. Who wins the matchup?
11 games, huh? Who'd they play on that 12th one?
Tennessee.
Oh man, I will tell you, early favorite for me was Kentucky, behind Georgia. I was there, man. I was SEC Media Days. I was hopping up.
Yep.
Them Wildcats. I said, this is the year that they're going to give Georgia a run for their money, and they didn't. They fumbled it multiple times. Now I know there was a lot to do with the injuries and obviously you lose your running back for the first 4 games. That's going to be a little bit. But I didn't give this offensive line as much thought as I should have, and I think they have gotten better, but they are still far from being a top offensive line group in the entire country. And that's what concerns me with the Wildcats, is just the trench warfare that we're going to see here. Because, a lot of people talk about how great Tennessee's offense is, but they're pretty damn good about getting pressure back there on the quarterback. John Reed talked about that earlier this week. And, these boys like to pin their ears back, and they're aggressive, just as aggressive on defense as they are on offense. And that's what worries me about Kentucky, because Will Levis isn't running these days. I think if they cut the reins loose and say, hey, man, which maybe that's what they do. What else are you playing for? If you can't beat Tennessee, you're not going to go to an SEC championship. You're not going to beat the Georgia Bulldogs.
Right.
You might as well just let them loose. And if he wants to run the ball, I think that's the only way I can see Kentucky winning this game, is if Will Levis is just released, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think he's a little banged up. And I still think this offensive line is not strong enough to keep him off his back. And that's why I've got this game going toward my Tennessee Volunteers, son, because these guys can score points, and they prove it every single week. Every top 25 team they've ever played, they still are able to move the chain. So can Kentucky keep up? Yeah, there's a chance, but they mess up once. Damn, if they mess up twice, there's no way they can get back into this ball game. And that's why I like the Tennessee Volunteers to win this thing 35, Kentucky 24.
Ooh.
And I'm ready to send my address for my bourbon.
Well, Shane, I think you might be buying into that rat poison like that John Reed. You're already eyeing the Georgia Bulldogs. You know what I didn't hear you mention, Shane? Kentucky's had 2 weeks to prepare for this game. This is a game that they want more than any. I think they want this one more than they want Georgia. I really do, because they hate them Vols, Shane, and they hate people like you tweeting at them all season long. Vince, every time I tweet about Tennessee, I got to hear, I get tagged by Vince Morrow. I don't think they're doing that for Georgia posts. You know what I mean? Chris Rodriguez, last game played, Shane, 196 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Barian Brown, Dane Key. They expect to get Tavion Robinson back. I think that's a huge advantage for Kentucky. I think this receiving core is probably one of the best Tennessee's faced to date. Mm-hmm. And we all know Tennessee's secondary, Shane, get out of here. Get out of here with that. You think they'd be a little bit better than they are, but where they are good certainly is rush defense. Tennessee should have. I've been touting Chris Rodriguez, Shane. Kentucky's rushing offense.
Yeah.
109th in the country in efficiency.
Oof.
Tennessee defense, number 5 defensive efficiency. That's in the country, brother. So Tennessee is at a huge advantage stopping the run, even though Chris Rodriguez is a beast. I think he's going to get his a little bit. But for Kentucky to win this football game, it's going to have to be, just like you said, the Will Levis show. They've got to unleash him. They've got to trade score for score. And I'm a little bit hesitant to whether they can do that. Shane, Will Levis on the road this season, 31 of 48, 422 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. And this is against Ole Miss and Florida. While Hendon Hooker at home, Shane, get ready for this. 93 of 125 for 1,529 passing yards, 14 touchdowns, only 1 interception, and add 232 rushing and 3 touchdowns. I mean, these are legitimate Heisman numbers he's putting up. If he does it again, Tennessee will run Kentucky out of the building. But I also think, Shane, that, I have heard a lot of Kentucky people say this is the best defense and Vols have faced. They played Alabama. You know what I mean? I mean, they just made Alabama look bad. I think Alabama is still a very, very, very good defense. The best defense Tennessee has faced, and the best defense they will face until Athens here in a couple days. So Kentucky defense, though, they are number 15 in the country in pass efficiency. So this does play well into their hands. Hendon Hooker, Jabari Small, Jalen Wright, they are going to have to carry the Vols, I think, because Tennessee, I think, is going to have to pound the rock to beat Kentucky. That's what Kentucky is going to make them do. But I hate to do this to you, brother. Upset special. Kentucky, 35. Tennessee, 42 against the spread. Kentucky wins it. I think this is going to be a one-score game. I really do think, Shane. I think Tennessee fans overlooking this one. I think they're crazy. I legitimately think Kentucky can win this game. I'm not picking them to do it, but it wouldn't stun me either way. Thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, obviously, I've been worried. A lot of people aren't. A lot of people are looking at Georgia and stuff, but I am. This is a lingering trap game I mean, they could screw everything up, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this monumental run that Tennessee is on can be brought down to earth if Kentucky comes out here and punches Tennessee in the mouth. Do they have potential? Yes. Do I think this is the best defense that Tennessee's faced this year? No. But I do think they're good. Mm-hmm. And a good defense can really disrupt. Look at what Pitt was able to do. Yeah. If they were able to, those first 3 drives and we weren't able to get a first down, shit got real. You know what I'm saying? So if they can come out and they can prevent Tennessee from getting that first down and that momentum rolling, then we may be in trouble. Because on the flip side of the ball, you got one of the best running backs, if not the best running back in the country. I love the downhill running from Rodriguez. You got Will Levis, that I think he's finally getting better. The receivers are top shelf. There's a real shot that this team can really extend drives, and it would not surprise me to see some 5, 6, 7 minute drives. That's how you beat Tennessee, preventing them from getting going and turn around, keep away. The recipe is simple, but it's simply said. That's right. The downside is it's one thing to say, okay, yeah, if we do ABC. Every team that we've faced has had the same recipe. Let's do ABC, and they've not, because all it takes is one drive that you get down. If Tennessee gets up 14 points, it's almost over. It's you know what I'm saying? Because then you're starting to play a little bit of catch up. Mm-hmm. Then you start getting a little bit more aggressive in your play calling, and then you start doing stupid stuff like what's his name down there, Kelly down there in LSU going for a 4th down. I mean, it's just, and then all of a sudden it blows up. That's what's worrisome about the Tennessee Vols, is because they have the potential to blow out any team that they play if you let them. So it really matters how these guys come up. Now, we talked about trap games. We talked about it with, us overlooking Georgia. I've heard you ask everybody that the interviews yesterday, those were fantastic, and they kind of teed them up. But, the fact of the matter is this will be a sold-out crowd. This is a Tennessee program that's going to have a quarterback, 24-year-old quarterback that does not overlook anybody. Coming out here with the all-black unis, they do this kind of stuff. It's fantastic. I mean, if anybody can't see it, they're doing this so that this game means even more to that locker room. So how can you really overlook Kentucky, because this is a program that truly can beat you? So me as a fan, and has been hurt many decades, I am always worried about any team that comes into Neyland, and I keep waiting like, well, here it is. We knew this was coming. But it's been going so far along in the season that I can't see a way Tennessee drops this one. So I'm pumped up for it. I think it's going to be a fantastic ball game. But unfortunately, Kentucky, my Volunteers are going to come out on top again.
Right. Yeah, it's going to take a flawless game, I think, from Kentucky, Shane, to win this one. And I'm a little concerned because I think the best thing Kentucky can have going for them is a balanced attack. Yeah. And I just don't know if that is a recipe, like you said, against this Tennessee team, because they're going to score on you. And if you're playing a slow pace, trying to eat the clock, but you're not getting touchdowns, I mean they're going to have to force the issue. They're going to have to push the ball, and I don't even know if they're going to be able to run on Tennessee. So maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe it is a blowout, Shane, but I think this is the best Kentucky we're going to get all season long, because this is their season. They win this one, they got everything in front of them. If they lose it, back to the East cellar they go. You know what I mean? So, yeah, a lot on the line for Mark Stoops and company.
Yeah, well, Tennessee's going to do what they've been doing, and they're going to pick one way or the other. And I think what they're going to do is sell out on Rodriguez. They're going to load up that box. They're going to force Will Levis to win this game with his arm. And, you know, I think he has the ability to do it, but it's been a while since Will's put up a perfect game. And in fact, probably 12 games ago when he played Tennessee, that was as close to a perfect game as I've seen. And I just don't see that repeating.
With 1 pick six, that was the difference.
Well, yeah, I mean, even then, one mistake,
right,
and you could see how quickly Tennessee can make you pay. So I still think it's going to make out for a fantastic football game, Mike, and I'm going to be nervous. I still can't sleep. You know, I'm anxious. I think I just don't want to deal with the whole sending whiskey thing. You know, because I've done that. It's a sad day at the post office. You know what I'm saying? When you gotta go to the package store, you got to get the right stuff. You don't want to get something too expensive, you know, but you want to get something nice. Yeah. Because it's going to make it on Twitter later. And then you got to go get boxing stuff, but you can't really box it at the UPS store because I think it's illegal. But anyway, not that I've ever done this, but I'm just saying it's a sad process. It's a half-day affair, and I don't want to deal with that. I want to just want to receive. You know, I want Kentucky bourbon coming to me. So there'll be plenty of shit talking all week and weekend. So I'm looking forward to it, man.
Well, hey, brother, I think that's a perfect place to end the show. I appreciate you as always. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. Enjoy the weekend of games. Should be one of the best weekends to date in the SEC. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols. Oh, and if we lose, I probably won't. It's at least a 48-hour rule. I mean, I may not see you till Monday, Mike. So I don't even want to talk about it.